The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat.
You're listening to Truth Talk.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere.
With Paul Webster and Chance George.
The first year of global governance with the establishment of the G20 in the middle of the financial crisis.
President Bush signed a formal agreement that will end the United States as we know it.
Nope, no weapons over there.
People who have been yelling, oh, the UN's going to take over global
Conspiracy
government.
theorists.
They've been crazy, but now they're right.
Yeah. Maybe under here.
But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that.
Welcome to the show. It is Truth Talk. I'm your host, Chance George. Momentarily, we'll be joined with my co-host, Paul Webster. We are from the Paris, Ontario We Are Change. What we're going to do today is I'm going to introduce to you Truth Talk, which is going to be my show along with Paul, a weekly show every Wednesday, and we're going to base it on the format of a typical talk show in the daytime, such as The View, or one of those type of formats where I'll have a panel of friends with different opinions, and we'll actually all try and voice our own opinions and have a discussion, I guess we'll call it. Not an argument, but a discussion on the different ideas, bringing to you more than one perspective so that it's not just all one-sided and one angle. It'll be a perspective from many different points of view. Actually, right now, I'm going to bring up my co-host. He's calling in right now. Mr. Webster, how are you doing today?
Hello, Mr. George. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm glad you got 8 minutes. After your time, you're going to log out and make another one?
Nope, I'm a Skype noob, and I pushed the wrong icon. And I had as a new Skype member, you're allowed a free 10-minute call. So I hit the call button.
Oh, of course.
So no, this is the free button. I'm on you.
Truth Talk Webster. All right.
How you doing?
Well, thanks for joining us today. Is there anything you wanted to bring up right off the bat to talk about our show or about
network radio?
I'm excited to do the show today with the panel of different talking heads. And I'm looking forward to hitting the information hard.
All right. Speaking of our talking heads, we are joined by a few of them today. Now, for Truth Talk Radio, this is actually episode number 10 officially. We are pretty new all around on here, but we've got a little bit of under our belt. We thought bringing more people to the panel would bring a little bit more excitement to the show. I know that me and Paul might get along on things, even though he has many questions. So on the show, we would like to have a couple different panel members. They're not always going to be the same. Sometimes they're going to be different. Sometimes they're going to be rotating. We'll try and get the same people on as much as we can. There'll be some guest ones. One of the guys who we're going to have on is basically a naysayer, a disbeliever of everything that comes out of my mouth, and he's going to question a lot of the things that go on here. We're going
Who would
to
naysay you, Chance George? Who would naysay you?
Mr. White would.
Oh.
So Mr. White's going to be on. We're going to try maybe once a month so that he has enough time to gather his facts and education on what subject we're going to bring up. So that's one guy that's going to be on our panel, Mr. White. He is totally against anything that I have to say on anything on the truth movement, thinks that I am completely out of my mind and that it's the official story or it's no story. Is there anything you would add to the statement about Mr. White? Paul's dead air. All right. So our second talking head is going to be one of the angriest people. If I could bring up his actual picture on air, you guys would be scared. This guy's mad. So if we bring up a topic, this guy's likely not going to be impressed about anything that's going on. whether it's the truth that's happening of the truth, the official story lies, or pretty much anything that's attacking our freedoms. This guy's up in arms, and they're huge. His name is Chris. Can you say hello to the microphone there, Chris?
I am mad as hell, and I am not going to take it anymore.
We haven't even said anything yet, and this guy's mad. I can see him in the studio. He's laughing at me, but he has a vein bubbling in his head right now. And of course, on the panel, you would always like to get a mother's perspective on what's going on in the world. A lot of mothers out there worry about their children. So we have a mother with 3 times experience. Also, she runs her own daycare center, so there's many different children coming in here. Many, many questions and worries about what the New World Order is doing to us and what is happening with the truth. So we'd like to say hello to Ray. How's it going today, Ray?
It's going well. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. So as Chance mentioned, I'm just very concerned in the aspect of our children. When it comes down to it, bottom line is our children are, in fact, our future. And if simple things like deodorant are poisoning our children because they have unnecessary ingredients in them, or children are suddenly being shot and killed in the middle of the night at movie theaters, I think that as a mom, I've got a couple opinions about these things. And you always hear the excuse from people about, well, I'm only one person. What can one person really do? Well, you know what? You're not. It's time to stand up, use your voice as a mom. You're not one person. You're one person plus as many children as you have and as many friends and family as you have. So it's about time people stand up, raise their voices, and stand up for ourselves and our kids.
You brought up an excellent point there, Ray. Speaking of kids at the theaters, at the Colorado shooting, I believe we had a horrible tragedy where some children were actually killed and shot in that theater. And it's just dawning on me right now. My kids right now, my mom took the grandkids out to the movie theater tonight just so that I could have a little bit more freedom on the air tonight. I was going to bring up the Colorado shooting a lot tonight. I didn't think right now that, holy cow, I think I should have sent Grandma with a piece. Like, straight up, folks. I'm not going to hold back my opinion here, but I think that maybe the problem isn't less guns, but maybe more guns is what is needed. If every single person in that theater had a gun, well, there'd only be 2 shots. Buddy shooting in the door and the rest of the crowd shooting him down. And that would be over. I honestly think maybe I should call my mom back and make sure she's packing. Anyway, back to our programming. Now, Paul, I'm here. I'm going to bring you up on the air. Could you give a brief description about any of the topics that we're going to be talking about on Truth Talk, or should I list off a topic and you give a description about it, or how do you want to work this little program?
Sure. Go ahead and list them, and then I'll give a brief bullet point off the top of my head.
All right, some of the major topics that are going on in society that we think at Truth Talk we should be talking as a panel about would be health is one of the number one things I have written down here, with such things as fluoride, GMOs, toxins, vitamins, minerals. What's something you want to talk about health?
The vitamins and minerals are huge. I just recently realized that our bodies are a working machine, and they need fuel, which is the mighty 90. As I've now learned, you need certain vitamins and minerals to absorb other ones, and the way it works is very complex, and us just eating breakfast, lunch, and supper, even if we eat, quote, healthy, we're never going to get the Canadian recommended 100% as per the food guide, let alone exceed it, which we should be exceeding it. That's just the minimum in order for our bodies to function properly, the Canadian food guide. We'd want to exceed that every day, and we could eat all the mangoes and sweet potatoes and everything all we want. We're never going to get 100% of everything, and that's what our body requires on a daily basis. So I just recently realized that, and that's definitely the reason why all the cancer and the pediatric cancer and all the stuff that's wrong with our health is here in the world today, in my opinion.
Yeah, on the vitamins and minerals, you could be the healthiest person you want and go to your actual health food store. The majority of the health food store food that you get down there at most has about 30 vitamins and minerals in it, which sounds like a lot to a person who's eating McDonald's, picking up on 0 vitamins and minerals and also being toxified. But if you were to take into perspective that there isn't a cereal on the market that has over 11 vitamins and minerals as a major distributor of cereal, it kind of makes you wonder why livestock is fed 40 to 50 vitamins and minerals. So I'm feeding my precious kids practically
11
empty food, 11, and you need 90 vitamins.
Yeah, that's something else. Isn't all that cereal actually? When I first learned about fluoride, was one of the highest foods saturated in fluoride because of the way it's made in water and the yeast process or whatever it is, however they make it. Its fluoride content is high as anything.
The fluoride you're talking about in the content is the same thing that I found is on pizza. And the reason that is because fluoride is a fertilizer or a poison. It is in most rat poison. It's in anything that is going to kill you at the hardware store. And that's what's sprayed onto the crops. So that's when you get your wheat and all that's in the cereal, it's directly where the toxin's coming from. Not actually added, but that's just
I see. I remember it being one of the top 5 foods of high in fluoride. Cereal was.
There's also a lot of cereal now that has genetically modified wheat, oats, corn. Corn is the number one. Over 80% of all corn on the planet now is genetically modified, and I think that is an atrocity to the planet. Genetically modifying the code of the planet.
People think we're crazy right now talking about this stuff. They're pulling their hair out because they think that we can control it. If we know about it, why are we still doing it? The answer is it's our food chain, and we have no other choice but to go to the supermarket and get our food. And even if you buy it organic, it's planted in depleted soils. Honeybees will eat off one plant, GMO, and come over and eat off the good plant. You don't know how organic it is. It's not certified 100%. Real deal. It's really hard to get real food these days. So that's the issue. Our bodies require plant-derived nutrients and minerals, and even the supplements that you buy are all synthetic, right? So
now, from personal experience, I have gone to my local health food store since of being thankfully awakened the last few years, and I have tried to get a supplement or a vitamin mineral for my kids and for myself. And do you know that as I stand at the counter and look through their lovely catalog of all of these great products that are available, that the majority of them we're not allowed to have in Canada? Well, why is that? I asked for these products to be ordered in, and the health food managers of the store informed me that no, they're not allowed across the borders. Customs will not let these things through. Well, pardon me, excuse me, you're not going to let these things through to better my family's health, but yet on a regular basis, how much drugs and illegal cigarettes and other contraband come into our country?
Fast and Furious. That's what I'm talking about.
I've told people about Fast and Furious, and no one thinks it's they all just roll their eyes and say everybody's a bad guy. Yeah, everybody's bad. Yeah.
Well, people are bad. Yeah, I'll give them that. But to back up what Rachel's saying about drugs and guns and weapons being fed across the border, there is an active federal operation in America right now put on by Barack Hussein Obama is his name. I forgot. Barry Soetoro, I can't do that again. Barack Hussein blah blah has put on a mission right now with Attorney General Eric Holder, who's being indicted for this, where they are illegally making weapons leak from America across border into Mexico, landing in the cartel's hands, starting race wars, fueling a civil war in Mexico, And then not only that, but it's spewing across the border back into America, killing American people, including border guards, mayors, police officers, sheriffs. This is treason.
Why would they? Why? Seriously,
what do you mean,
why would they?
Of course, the why would be.
I know why. People are asking why. The Second Amendment. The Second Amendment. Okay, hold on. We're going to go on to gun control from here, so let's just get on to it now. The Second Amendment, we know, is in America. It's not there for hunting. It's there to defend yourself. It's the Second Amendment. The Constitution's written in order of how you should protect yourself. First is through speech. The freedom of speech. You go and protest when you don't like your government. When your government screws you around, you protest and you use your right of free speech. When that doesn't work, that's when you can pull out your Second Amendment. That's when it's a last ditch effort when the government's going to come take you away to a camp, because it happens so many times. The founding fathers said that's not going to happen this time. So we're going to arm the citizens, and that won't happen now. So explain how that's different in Canada, and why we shouldn't have guns here in Canada. Why is it worse over there? Give me some statistics.
Okay, I'm just going to write that down for 1 second. Why in Canada are we brainwashed? And I'm going to get right back to that, but we actually have a caller on the line. Now, I'll get right back to that, why we're brainwashed in Canada.
Perfect wording.
Yeah,
you don't know.
Keep it down there, Paul. We have a caller on the line. It's Virginia, or Hugh from Virginia. Hugh, are you there?
Yes, good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you for tuning into the show. I'd like to be the first one to say that you're the first caller of Truth Talk Radio. This is awesome. Not
only that, I'm standing in my truth. How's that?
Nice.
Very good.
And if I can share my name, it hopefully will generate a lot of interest in people to follow your show, because it's all about the truth. And
well,
please
do.
Yes, my name is Hugh, H-U-G-H. The last name is Traulsen, T like Tom, R-A-U-L-S-E-N as in Nancy. If you put a .com after my name, it will bring you to a site. If you click on historical articles, you'll see a front page Wall Street Journal article from 1983 where I exposed a former federal government bureaucrat for fraud, who I believe was a CIA operative, and directly it eventually led to the resignation of Jim Wright from Speaker of the House in shame. The original memo that triggered the Wall Street Journal article is there, plus attachments. The last item is actually a letter from President Obama to me dated July 7, 2009, related to the economy.
Wow. That's awesome. So we've got
the tip of the iceberg. And related to the right to bear arms, that is a right, and that should be preserved. I am a Vietnam-era veteran myself. I'm proceeding from a whole different paradigm for mankind's future. I'm working on a huge mission and vision of bringing spirituality into global economics and combining it with unconditional love, making everything transparent, legal, ethical, and moral. And that's sort of what I alluded to in my response to the president's letter. I said that I have no risk strategies that I'm releasing into the business world that are actually a strategic intelligent enhancement for any business at will to expand and diversify to an unlimited degree in any field and create jobs and opportunities at the same time. It's totally transparent, highly ethical and moral, and will force companies to be more responsible for their employees, their customers, the environment, and the community. Do you suppose that's why I'm not hearing back from Washington?
I suppose you lost Washington when you wrote something into them, because I'm not even sure they're literate anymore down there. You've got 535 retards.
Oh, they're very literate. They passed 500 and something laws within the past couple of years, and they have a contractor that has contracted to build prisons on the guarantee that they'll be able to fill them as they build them. So that's quite interesting for a country to do that.
Yeah, especially with the Emergency Centers Establishment Act just going into place now.
Right. Well, as I stand in my truth, too, I don't have the fear, and I'm a disabled senior citizen. I've had UFO paranormal and near-death experiences, which I also talk about freely. I don't care what people think, but I put the elites in fear now because we're all spiritual beings. We came here from spirit. We're going to go back into spirit eventually. 100 years is like the blink of an eye in terms of eternity. I believe that we're accountable for everything we do in this life, and I say to the elites that God has harmonics, and if you're in the right kind of alignment, a heart-to-God alignment, you'll be perfectly fine when they come. But if you're an elite, you can be sitting on your yacht over in the Mediterranean, sipping a pina colada, and you may spontaneously combust or explode. The same thing if you're in an underground bunker, because God's harmonics go where God wants them to go. But you can change your ways, maybe live a little longer if you start caring and sharing and do the right thing by people. And related to Agenda 21 that they put so much effort and work into, I really am totally amazed how much work they put into it, but they missed the most important part, especially related to depopulating the planet. They should have gotten off the planet first and be way showers and leave the rest of us alone.
Amen.
Very good.
Now, may I ask you a question, Hugh? Are you not scared to speak up and to write in and to be mad as hell?
I'm not mad. I'm coming from a place of love. They can't stand that. That's a much better way to go because the law of attraction is so simple and basic. What you put out is what you get back. And I've said this already on other shows too, that no, I'm not afraid, because if somebody's going to put a hit on me, I'm going to eat the hitman's brains out from the spirit world. It's going to be quite painful. And I'll be a little more gentle on him as opposed to the person who contracted him. So, no, I'm ready to go anytime, but I'll be damned if I'm going to get caught up in madness. I do my day peacefully. I used to be a hunter. I had my guns. I gave them up because I don't hunt anymore. But if somebody puts a gun on me, they better be at least far enough away. The hand is quicker than I. If I get the hands on the gun, even if they're pumping bullets into me, I'll make sure that they eat it somehow.
Well said. All right, I'll try and shed a quick perspective on who they're asking you. Drake is a figure in part of a movement known as the mass arrests, and he has been featured on many shows. He has his own show, I believe, and every week there is new updates pertaining to the information that we're explaining here. So that's, I guess, who Drake is, if you're unaware. I'm not 100% sure about who he is or what he's about, because I'm new to that part of the movement, but that's who they're referring you to, Hugh.
Well, I'm somebody, I don't know who he is, but I will point to a site. Again, I'm taking it from a spiritual perspective. There is a fascinating site at Sanctus, SANCTUS Germanus, GERMANUS.net, sanctusgermanus.net. They go very deep into the spiritual realm and have a good bead on the elites. So I go various places, but I've never heard of the man Drake.
You sound very informed as to the consciousness angle of things.
Well, that's where it's all at. I mean, that's what people have to wake up and realize, that since birth we've been manipulated by these elites, and that we all do have unlimited creativity, and we're not using it. So that's, as we become aware, instead of fighting things, if we will tap into that unlimited creativity and do things in peaceful ways in our communities and ripple it out globally, we can have a beautiful future for mankind. We got two ways to go. Either we're going to go back to the caveman days and just blow each other to hell, or we can, again, we far outnumber the elites. They've already lost in my mind. So I don't dwell on all the things that they're doing. I just ask for guidance and help in what I'm looking to do through what I'm inspired to do through God or the Creator, whatever you put that as.
Hey, Hugh, you said you're an old Army vet. Is that right?
No, Air Force, 64.
Okay, so you might have some kind of knowledge, or even you've heard the term false flag.
Oh yeah, no, I believe 9/11 was totally a false flag. There's enough evidence to point to that, and in fact, I was working on Long Island when 9/11 happened in the contract security job, and I had a a Marine working under me who had good connections, and he outright said it, that we did it to ourselves, and I believe him. And my daughter also was attending college at NYU when that went down, so I'm fully aware. There's an interview that I did on a blog, creativity777.com, where I touch on the 9/11 related to a little poem that I authored that's dedicated to my wife. The poem's also in the President Ronald Reagan Library. It's discussed as a weapon against terrorism in the interview that can be downloaded, and currently I'm using it to help the people of Haiti who can't help themselves.
Amazing.
Now, Hugh, you brought it up yourself, so I don't know if you'll tell me the answer, but you said you're a senior citizen. How old are you?
Currently, I'm 67. I'll be 68 next month.
I only bring that up because one of the major problems I have in the truth movement, to talk to friends, family, and strangers, is once I hit about the magic age of 35 to 40, people generally shut off, and they are extremely defensive about the situation of the official story, and there isn't too many people I find that are in that 40 to 60, 70 range that are receptive to what we're talking about. But then I guess maybe it's more military veterans, or maybe aware more, but I'm quite impressed that someone of your longevity is up on what's going on and not shutting down what the younger generation is trying to spread around the planet right now.
Well, I've been open-minded all my life, and that's what you have to be. That's where you learn, and you learn from taking actions, not just talking about things. But, the people have been caught up in the matrix. I mean, when I grew up as a kid, to even think of going to the moon was crazy, right? So there's a whole different mindset. I am in a senior independent apartment building. I don't even interact with a lot of the people because they want to sit around and gossip all day or talk about their aches and pains and what have you. And I'll go out and I'll walk around for exercise and sit in nature, and that's God's classroom, and I'll just have an awesome day. I'm just upbeat and solution-oriented, and I'm looking to leave a legacy for my family and the generations to come, and that's what, if you call it to their attention, shame on them. And that's what they should be doing, is interacting with the grandchildren more and finding out what their interests are, maybe starting a home-based business for them, and by the time they're ready for college, they wouldn't have to be looking for the government to pay for it. They'd have it all there for themselves, or maybe they wouldn't want to go to college and they're already set in a career. So if you begin to look at things differently, there's all kinds of unlimited opportunities that you can create.
All right, well, that's very well said. We are glad to have Hugh calling in from Virginia. I hope that you not only stay a listener of Talk, but I hope that you call in and keep us updated about your site, your movement, and the truth. Thanks for calling in.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Hugh, plug your website one more time before you go. Hugh, plug your website one more time. What's your website again?
Well, it's if you just Google my name, you'll come across all kinds of things and other interviews that I've done. It's Hugh, H-U-G-H. The last name is Traulsen, T like Tom, R-A-U-L-S-E-N like Nancy. And if you put a .biz, B-I-Z after it, it will bring you to a site that has an entrepreneurial opportunity, too, that is quite revolutionary. It's all video products, and it's a referral-based organization. It's totally revolutionizing business and communications globally, and the Russians seem to be doing quite well with it, but Americans are too busy consuming in order to change their minds before the Russians may take over here. So I hope people will take a look at that too.
Well, all right. Thanks a lot. Question from the chat room.
The mass shooting in Colorado recently at the movie theater.
Oh, I felt that. I mean, it may not be, but I do feel that. And, these elites will stir up trouble wherever they can just to keep people in fear and stuff. So whether it is or not, just taking an action, even saying a prayer is taking an action. and I think we have to bring God back into America. He seems to be getting pushed out, but we're all spiritual beings. So these things they've been going on since the beginning of time, but we have to have that transparency and work it from our communities back. The corruption is so rampant in big government, big business, mainstream media, and the religions are going to have the wrappings coming off too. Now, am I correct? Are you gentlemen up in Canada?
Yes, we're from Paris.
The truth that you're doing a beautiful show and bringing the truth to light, and whether people believe in conspiracies or not, I say that as long as it's not taxpayer money, if there's resources available, every conspiracy should be investigated until it's no longer a conspiracy.
Agreed. Right. Well said.
Thanks again.
All right.
I think that the Colorado shooting would be a good place to continue going from here. We were going to do a lot of the show on it, and I can't believe we're already at the 40-minute mark already, so we're going to try and move fast on the Colorado shooting. I'm also going to try and get a little bit of a point of view from some of our panel members then. Now, our first thing that I'm going to bring up is Michael Chertoff, who is the guy who brought out the body scanners because of the underwear Christmas bomber, the failed dud attempt to take our liberties away at the airports. He was the first person on the scene to start pumping the body scanners, which were actually ordered 1 year before the incident.
Yeah, but didn't that guy get on a plane with a bomb in his underwear?
The guy got on the plane with a firecracker in his crotch.
Yeah, but he still got on. What if it was a bomb? That's the point, right?
Well, what if it was a bomb? Okay, well, the whole time he was not only escorted on the plane around the security in the airport where he left, but he was also escorted by a state agent. I believe the agency was the State Department, who got him a visa on the plane when he showed up at the airport with no security clearances. Not a passport, not an anything.
Chance, I'm having a hard time believing this. Was there a Supreme Court trial with Kurt Haskell there as a witness?
Yes, there's actually a lawyer named Kurt Haskell, you're right. He was on the plane. He videotaped the entire incident as he noticed a disheveled man kind of out of his mind on the plane, and another man videotaping him. He then videotaped the pair of them.
So this Chertoff guy now is the guy that rolled out the body scanner, like how good of an idea it is. Whole.
Yeah, his company also made millions and millions of dollars off it. But here's where it leads to Colorado. Not only is he the guy who capitalized on that event, but on this event, he is now calling for, well, I guess we can't really just take the Second Amendment away right in front of people because some people are awake. But what we could do is start profiling just the criminals or just the people who might do it. So a way to find those people is now something that is not called body scanners, but pre-crime. This is something that is right out of the movies. They're straight up going to bring pre-crime, where they scan your brain to see if you might be the next shooter. Not if you're carrying a gun, not if you have something in your pocket, not if you're hiding something away. Your straight up thoughts. They're coming for your mind. Like, this is not a conspiracy. He has these machines made. They're bragging they can already say within 90% accuracy what you're going to type next into Google. So this is where Chertoff comes into. He's got the next solution to a mass shooting, staged or unstaged. I'm just going to bring up Chris. How does that make you feel, buddy?
Well, here's my take on the whole Colorado thing. You got an unemployed med student who supposedly goes into, well, not supposedly, obviously he did, but I don't believe this man acted alone. Where does an unemployed med student come up with between $10,000 or $20,000 for all the equipment he would have needed? A ballistic helmet, a gas mask, bulletproof vest, 6,000 rounds of ammo, a knife, 2 handguns, and a rifle. It just doesn't add up, and it seems to all have happened just in time for the UN Small Arms Treaty.
That's it?
That's it.
It doesn't make you mad?
Oh, it makes me beyond mad
These are the calmest I've ever seen you. For the mad guy on the panel right now, you almost look like calm. Is this because it's right in your face? It's too open?
It's blatantly in your face. I mean, I think it's obvious there's something going on here, and people are too stupid to ask the right questions.
Well, apparently some of the people who are tuning into this show are asking the right questions, so this is a one glimmer of hope we have. Now,
see,
hold on. Go on. Okay, from a mother's point of view, what would you think about this? Everything about the shooting, maybe not just the false flag angle, but what do you think about this? Children in a studio.
Okay, so let's back up for a second. I've got a couple of different opinions about this. Surprise, surprise. I'm going to try to make it short and sweet, as I see you only have about 14 minutes left here. I'm going to back it right up. To talk specifically about the shooting, I have a couple of questions. Now, from a mom's perspective, I understand that sometimes you have a long day or a long week or a long month, and sometimes you don't get to see the outer bounds of the world besides your house, cleaning and taking care of the kids of the future. But my question is why children so young, so late, were in that movie theater? I'm not saying it's the parents' fault, because it's a tragedy, and my heart goes out to all those people, the parents, the family, of course. But why is the movie theater allowing underage children to go into a theater to see a movie that is blatantly, obviously not appropriate for them? Now, that being said, to talk about this gentleman that has come up with this fantastic idea of these body scanners, my thing is does anyone else agree with me to say that this is possibly an opportunity for them to implement these machines in our movie theaters and our malls? So when we're now not just going to the airport, but when we're going on these, recreation outings, that now us and our children have to possibly walk through these things, these scanners. Now, if the airport ones aren't bad enough, what I'd like to know is, does this man have a couple of years' worth of research on a couple of hundred children to find out the long-term effects that this may have on our young, very weak immune system of our children? I'd like to know what the long-term effects of something like this is going to be. And like I said, I think this is just a window of opportunity for them to implement these types of things into other places.
I basically would agree on that this is an opportunity not only for them to make a whole wad of cash, but to start clamping down on our society. As they stated in 2002 on C-SPAN, Tom Ridge, I believe, was the Department of Homeland Security director at the time. He said we're going to have TSA in the malls, on the streets, on checkpoints, everywhere. So why not have pre-crime? Why not know what's going to happen next? We might as well just lock everybody up.
Well, I'm looking at this article here by Chertoff, by Patrick Halbin of whatever website I'm looking at here. Former Homeland Security Michael Chertoff states, if you look at what we've heard about the apartment, and the sophistication of the devices that we've disarmed or disabled there, you'll realize that these ingredients can be found in your kitchen. So the problem's with the people and not with the tools. To me, that sounds like he's saying that guns are an inanimate object, and it's people that are crazy. That's actually, I thought that was a pretty good pointed article.
That's how smart they are. They know that the obvious clamping down of Second Amendment not only will never fly with an American, but is too blatantly in your face. So they have to have the problem, reaction, and solution that they're looking for. They know they'll be literally up in arms about de-arming the American population and Second Amendment gun rights. Now, getting back to what you said about Canadians and why we're brainwashed, is being a Canadian citizen, my whole life I've been taught that Americans are basically bad because they have guns, and who the hell needs all those guns? Why are they shooting at each other? Why are they so mad? Can't we talk about these things with each other? And to a Canadian, I guess that's how I felt for most of my life. I don't want to shoot anybody. America, look at all those guys with the guns. But I guess when you open your mind to the truth, then you realize that the guns are the only thing keeping the government, the police, and everybody else, the tyranny, from battering down my door. That's the last line of defense. Not only that, but if someone were to break into my house and be attacking my family, my wife, my children, the first person I call is the police. And it's not because they're Superman. They have a badge and they have a gun.
Okay, so in Canada, we're not totally disarmed. We're allowed, we actually had our rifle laws got better. Anyways, whatever the case is, we're allowed to have guns in our homes. They're meant for, quote, hunting, as opposed to the Second Amendment to defend against tyranny, which everybody thinks is for hunting. Ours is actually for hunting, as far as I'm concerned and believe. But they're allowed in our homes, and I know it's against the law to defend ourselves with them. But if you really wanted to defend your children and wife, you can with your gun, I guess, and that would be in your heart of hearts the right thing to do. You'd probably be acquitted by a supreme or by a court and be sent to jail or prison for the rest of your life, or possibly whatever the case is. But we're not totally disarmed. I think that the problem in the States is when people are having guns in their pocket, walking all over on the streets with them, and they get into a bar fight, and someone throws a bar stool and hits a guy in the head, and somebody hits somebody's girlfriend, or something happens inadvertently, and somebody gets out of hand, and then somebody gets shot out of nowhere. And like, I can imagine how many bush parties I've been to in Paris where it gets out of hand and people are yelling and they look like absolute idiots when they get pushed and they trip over a log. So, like, I can see guys with 6 beers into them pulling out their 9. I'm just saying, does that happen in Texas a lot, or what's the stats on that?
Well, it does happen, and I'm not saying that the human aspect of this isn't going to be a problem. There's obviously, if everyone on the planet had a gun and everyone had a little bit of tension, everyone's going to get shot.
Well, if everybody had a car, we'll have a lot more accidents, right? A gun is a dangerous object, just like a car is a dangerous object, right? I understand.
At the same time, though, I know people who have 6 beers into them, they get acting the fool and they headbutt you. So should we take everyone's head away from them, from the possibility of a headbutt?
Yeah, because you can get killed pretty easy by a headbutt, let's be honest. Literally.
Yep, so not only, I think, arming the population, which Sweden did. I believe Sweden is the one country on the planet where the government hands out guns and trains their population to use them. They have the lowest gun-on-gun crime in the world. They teach the actual proper use of the gun and the respect for the gun and what it really is. It's not a toy. You're not going to shoot your eye out. You're going to kill someone. And that's what they know. American is just so wrapped up in the Biggest Loser and what's on the damn sports games that they don't have any time to learn what's going to happen with a gun. That's why they flashed out. Go ahead, Paul. I'm getting upset. I'm almost like Chris here. I'm getting mad as hell.
So in Sweden, they have to go through training. They have to get some kind of regimen, some kind of course before they can have a gun, though, right?
No, the gun is issued by the government and training.
Issued by the government?
Yeah, government-issued firearms. Imagine that.
Wow.
And in Texas, as we know, is one of the lowest cases of home invasions. Because everyone knows a Texan's armed and a Texan's going to shoot you if you run up on his property. Now, in New York and other gun-banned cities where you're not allowed to arm yourself, they are rampant with home invasions. Look at England. The only people who have guns are supposed to be the cops, right? Now even the cops were having their guns taken away, so you have a bobby stick. You show up with anything above a pea shooter, you're basically the biggest terrorist in the county.
Yeah, that's what one of the arguments was today, that there's hardly any gun deaths in the UK because the whole population, including the cops, is disarmed. I haven't seen the stats on it. I'd love to see a statistics sheet on this stuff because it's only hearsay as far as I know.
That's not exactly true, Paul. The cops are armed, but they have to carry their weapons in their vehicle.
Oh, is that right, eh?
Yes.
I see. Now, each and every cop on the beat has a weapon in their vehicle?
Yeah, they're hiding it. They got to go get it if they need it.
Okay. Well, it's there if they need it anyway, right?
Yeah, they'll be back in just a minute. Now, I think that it should go one of two ways then. There should either be no guns, as in zero, the entire planet eradicated from arms. Not one gun, not a slingshot, not a pea shooter, not an anything, because we don't need it. And if we can't do that, get everyone one. Straight up.
I agree. Yeah.
One or the other. If we can't have no guns, everyone gets one. Everyone must learn the respect for it, and everyone's going to there will be incidents. I can't say the world's perfect. Look at what's happened so far on this planet. But there's many more issues besides just guns, and I think that we should move on. Otherwise, you're going to be here all day.
Accidents go up and evil goes down.
Yep. So besides Chertoff, let's get back to our Colorado report as we're dwindling down on time here. I don't even know how much time we have left. We probably
5 minutes, Chance.
You got 5 minutes? I guess I'm reading the article. All right, one false flag, tall tale sign that something is a false flag is when a real live drill is happening while a real live incident is happening. So on 9/11, we had many different situations where the Army and the Air Force and NORAD were all simulating air attacks on the actual World Trade Center with civilized charter planes. So basically what was really happening in real time. On 7/7 bombing, we had the exact same thing happen in England. During the Madrid bombings, we had the same thing where they're running a drill. So when we find out from the DenverPost.com that the real-life shooting imitates a training exercise at Parker Medical School where the students were being versed in scenarios of students being shot up and theater shootings. So they're in the exact same county, I believe, in the same state, running the same drill at the same time. Is this not one quick false flag, tall tale sign?
I can't say that it proves anything, but it's crazy coincidental. I'll say that.
Okay, so every one of these points that I'm bringing up might not be the proof definitively, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that this is a conspiracy. But every one of them adds to the questions.
Oh, yeah, does it ever, eh? Okay, go on to the next article.
I am, but I'm getting some breaking news brought to my attention. I'm trying to read it and scan at the same time. Okay, I'll give a quick overview of a couple more of the headlines that we have about Colorado. The Batman shooting also parallels many fictional works in the Batman series. Not only did the Dark Knight character shoot up a theater, or well, not he didn't shoot it up, but the character was blamed by the mainstream media of the Gotham, the fake world, was blaming Batman for the shootings. This kind of parallels with what we see today. We also have the gunman was on the same drugs, prescription drugs that killed Heath Ledger, the Batman star from the previous film with the Joker. We have many witnesses inside the theater on YouTube right now. I could play the link for you, stating that they saw a second person opening the door for the shooter, which blows the lone gunman theory out of the case.
Yeah, they saw him answer a telephone and then go open a door or something like that, I've heard.
Yeah, guy opens the door because he got a call, and that could have been James Holmes is what they're saying, but in reality what the witnesses are saying, it was two separate people. Then we have the FBI issued an alert attack warning on May 17th, 2012, directly stating that Al-Qaeda is going to get movie theaters. My show is going to be off in 90 seconds. I'm sorry to everyone who's been tuning in, and we had to cut the show off now because we only got an hour. I thought we were going to run out of time, but this is unbelievable. I can't believe we went through an hour already. This is Truth Talk. I'm Chance George, along with Paul Webster, Chris the Angry Guy, and Ray Ray.